There you go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of your favorite Ravens YouTube channel and podcast. Talking Ravens all day, every day with your host, Justin P, and my MVP co host, Shannon Fitch. This is episode 76 for the YouTube channel. And for the audio versions, and right there, the links are right there in the description. If you can't watch live, if you're busy at work or whatever, you just want to listen to it, follow the podcast right there, those audio versions as well. And the description as well as me and Shannon's, social media platforms. So you can follow us there as well. Co-host got some great topics for us. We want to know, but it wasn't all pretty, so we're ready to get right
hmm
into it. Go ahead, Shannon.
All right. So, what were your good, bad, and ugly from week one?
Hmm. Uh, Good, as I said on in your Ravens group. Uh, Justice Hill, man, he stepped up. JK went out. He did his thing. So he definitely was good. The defense played amazing. They only gave no touchdowns allowed, only 9 points given up. Only like 250 yards total offense. Tuck, of course, he was good. Can't say nothing bad about him. Zay Flowers was good, of course. And Odell, believe it or not, I got by him not playing a whole year, seeing him just getting back into the flow and actually being out there, and he caught a couple passes. We are anybody that knows football should know when he wasn't going. He just gonna come back and line it up for 200. It don't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can come out like that, but when he goes week by week, numbers are going to get to what we want. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those are the good right there. And I'm gonna say hardball because it wasn't no bad coaching decision, so I got to give him a little credit. Bad Lamar's turnovers. If you take away the turnovers, he has a pretty sufficient game. Because it's 17 of the 22, and that's 88%. But the two turnovers, kind of dims it down a little bit. Pass protection was terrible. It was terrible. Like Will Anderson was looking like Lawrence Taylor out there. So, shout out to the Nico Ryans. We all knew he would have his team ready to play. You know, but damn, I was like, ooh, Morgan Moses, man, this might be his last year, honestly. But yeah, the pass protection, and then the ugly, the injuries. Like I said, J.K. getting hurt. Marcus Williams, he got Lindenbaugh, Stanley. It's like, damn. It's like the injury bug just always find a way to rattle us. And then the
Mm-hmm.
penalties. The penalties. Always some bonehead penalties that kept the drive going for the Texans. We probably could have shut them out if it wasn't for a few penalties. Travis
Mm-hmm.
Jones, roughing the pass, people with the hands to the face. It's like just little silly stuff that just kept drives going. So that's my good, bad, ugly right there.
Okay. Um, so my good, obviously is Zay Flowers. He definitely stood out. I also, like you said with Odell, I definitely think that he had a good game. He had some two big third downs. He was drawing pass interference, and I haven't seen that from a guy since really Torrey Smith like that here.
Hmm.
And obviously the defense. I mean, we can talk about who they went against and who's on the other side, but in my opinion, they played the way you should play against opponent that you think that you're better than.
Hmm.
Outside of that, we had our own injury issues defensively, and we really didn't get exposed how we could have, if it was a different situation. So definitely was the good. And also, I want to say the adjustments after halftime were good because, first half, it was kind of like, what is going on out here? Offense was looking crazy. Like, defense was doing their thing, special teams was doing their thing, but it was like, it just seems like at halftime, maybe they figured some things out, maybe looked at something and figured out, what we can do different because I saw a different energy after halftime. The bad was obviously the offensive line. I mean, they can't pass protect for anything. I don't know. I just don't even know what to say about them. Like, and then to know that we lost two starters in a mix of that game, like I just don't see how that's going to get any better. Sure, they were definitely bad. And what else did I think was bad? That's pretty much it for the bad. The ugly was definitely the injuries. I mean, it's still a black cat running around somehow. But I do want to say I saw some Ravens fans blaming The strength coach, I can't put that on him. I mean, because the things that happened, the people, the way they got hurt, he can't account for somebody rolling up on your leg. You know what I mean?
No,
Stuff like that.
no.
Marcus Williams turned his pec or whatever he tore. Like that's not. I don't really see that as a strength coach issue. I don't know. Could be wrong, but I just don't see that. And also the penalties, ugly. What are ugly? Double digit penalties for over 100 yards. That's totally unacceptable. So
Absolutely.
granted, we'll walk away from this and be happy that we got the win, but it's definitely some things to work on and things to clean up, and particularly like John Harbaugh is not coaching an undisciplined team, so we definitely know that's something they're going to have to get together. But that was definitely ugly on Sunday.
Yeah, and as far as the injury, I'm gonna say that before we move on. It's football. Like I what people who refer to realize, it's one of the most physical sports there is. So
Hmm.
every single time, every single play is liable for somebody to get hurt at any position. It's just it's just no way around it. It's just no
Yeah.
way around it. Like you can try to be as cautious as you can. It's just they know what they signed up for. Like that's why you're
Hmm.
53 men on the roster. Like if
Yeah.
injuries never occurred, you would have 22 guys on the roster. That's it.
Yeah.
Offense, defense. That's all you would need because injuries would never take place. But it's just, like I said, it's not a video game. But
Hmm.
yeah, so people just got to relax. It happens. That's why we got the depth that we got. And August Staley and Linderbaum play. I think everything else can, like Gino can step in for Marcus Williams, and I feel like we'll be okay. And the running backs we got will be okay. I don't know, we're gonna get in that later on the show, but
Hmm.
it is what it is. It's a part of the game. All
Yeah.
right, go ahead, Shannon.
All right, so next we're going to do position grades. We'll start with quarterbacks. What do you give the quarterbacks? Well, quarterback.
Uh, would have been a B, but I'm gonna drop it down to a C plus because of the two turnovers. Like I said, with 17 to 22, that's 80%. That's good any day of the week. But like I said, the interception and the fumble kind of killed it, so I'm gonna give it a C plus.
I'll give him a C. My thing is this, like you said, with the turnovers, it might have looked different, right? Outside of that, we can't run away from the fact that Lamar wanted more control. He wanted to have more input on different things that we're doing offensively, and they've given him, that opportunity. It didn't look like it was faring well on Sunday. We're still having the same issue of zero blitz. I don't understand why they can't pick that up or figure out a way to make those adjustments at the line. I don't know if that falls on Lamar or the center at the time, Linderbaum. I'm not sure. But I'll give him a C because I definitely think that Lamar could have been better, but he wasn't totally, horrible.
Yeah, as far as with that, if we move on from that, just it goes on him, Linderbaum, and the OC. All three of them gotta see that, and they all gotta put their own, suggestions together to solve that. You know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
falls on all three of them. But, yeah, he
I
definitely
guess
has.
my thing is when you're at the line, do you not see it? And do you
They,
not know
it's
how
the thing. They could not show it, and then it's right before you snap the ball, then it comes. Like it's called disguised blitzes. So sometimes that's how a lot of teams do in the NFL. Because nowadays you can't just regularly just put everybody at the line of scrimmage because that's obvious. They want, hey, check. Sometimes the corner just be sitting there chilling. So if the ball snap, he taking off. So but it'll get picked up. Like I said, them not playing in the preseason definitely hurt, which we're going to get to next. But it,
But
it,
see,
it
and the only reason why I can't, but that's been an issue before before Sunday's game. Like that was an issue in previous years. So it just makes me wonder. And that was a different offensive coordinator. So we'll see how it goes on. But that's been an issue, with Lamar under center in general. So that's why I just wonder, like, what does he see when he's at the line? And by
right.
them giving him more control this year, we can't shy away from that fact that a lot of that's going to fall on him. And like I
It
said, it's
is.
like, what are you saying when you're at the line? But like you said, if everything is not, it's not all of them trying to deceive him in a sense is my point. If it's always been an issue, but we'll see how they work out with that. What do you give the offensive line?
Uh, the run blocking was pretty okay. The pass blocking was terrible. So I'm gonna give it a C overall. as I said, because Justice Hill had got some yards, JK scored, Gus was getting yards. But when you let your quarterback constantly get put under pressure like that, it was like,
Yeah.
geez, and like against a bunch of rookies for the most part. The only veteran they got on the D line is Jerry Hughes. Everybody else is first and second year players. And to D'Amico's mind's credit, he got those guys ready to play. But I guess like the offensive line, it don't get too much easier than that. Like now you
Mm-hmm.
got the Bengals coming in. We gotta go to them. They're riled up because now the media done trashed them all week. So
Mm-hmm.
now they're going to then they got a chip on their shoulder. So you know. So the balance it all out, I say C.
I would give them a C minus. Lamar was running for his life. Like that was clear to see early on. He had like zero time.
Right.
Something that a lot of people were talking about was, um, Lamar didn't really throw the ball deep distances along. I think they said he only passed once for 20 yards. That was the longest of the game.
Yeah.
And I
No.
think
Yeah.
I think a lot of that still plays a part in the offensive line. You have to be able to protect him and give him some time to be able to see the field, and they weren't able to do that. I don't understand why we didn't, give them more help up there earlier on than we did. I know we did it a lot in the red zone, particularly when we scored touchdowns. But I just felt like when we saw what was happening, you got to stop the bleeding, and I don't understand why they allowed that to go on for so long. Um, and you see like what happened with Aaron Rodgers last night, like he was running for his life and literally 4 snaps in, he's out of the game and done for the season. So they're definitely going to get a C minus because, like you said, they did well running the ball. I didn't have too many complaints about that. But passing was just totally unacceptable. And I just feel bad because I don't know that it's going to get better with losing two starters now who are both week to week. And especially with Ronnie Stanley, we don't want to rush him back and have a repeat of things that have happened in the past, and it just sucks with Tyler because he's a young guy. Like he could be a Pro Bowler. Like he did great last year, and we thought we had something with him. So it's unfortunate how that happened for him. But they were kind of like disappointing on Sunday. Definitely pass protecting them.
Yeah, and the thing with that, the negate like all the rush, you got a 300-pound fullback. Hey, you got something that no other team has. You have a 300-pound
Hmm.
fullback, and that's what they did in
Use
the
them
second half. Like, because once he put
exactly.
once he put mittens on them guys, they're not going to want to rush the same. Like,
Right.
if you don't use them for nothing else, use them for that. Like, make him earn
Yeah.
his money as far as that.
Yeah. All right. So what do you give the running backs?
I give him a B. They did pretty good for the most part. They give him a B. JK, he got hurt. He went out after he scored, so he went out on a momentum. Gus was
Hmm.
running hard. Justice Hill got 2 touchdowns. Yeah, so definitely get a B.
Same thing for me. A B. It's everything you said. I mean, they did what they needed to do on Sunday, and even after JK went down, no nothing seemed to be missing in that department. Um, I just feel so bad for JK Dobbins. Like I really, really, really do feel bad for him. I don't know what the future holds for him, but I do hope that he has a great support system around him because situations like this can get you down, and mentally you can just be stuck. So I do wish him a speedy recovery. Um, it's just it sucks that happened to him, but yeah, they definitely get a B.
Great.
All right, so what about the Titans?
Uh, I give him a C plus because, like I said, without Mark Andrews, they gave us what they got couldn't do. They blocked pretty. They blocked okay. They caught a couple passes. So yeah, and then like I said, all week long you didn't know if Mark was going to play or not, so they had to get thrown into the lineup. Probably not taking first team reps. So they just basically just went off instinct and skill. So I give them a C plus.
I give them a C minus. Like you said, being thrown into it, I'm like they weren't probably getting the reps that they would have, gotten if they would have known that Mark wasn't playing. But I do recall like some big play situations that could have occurred that they did not come through with likely and Color. So that's where the minus comes in that. But I'm giving them kind of a grading on the edge because, like you said, they didn't really know they were going to be playing. So they gave us what they could in that moment. But yeah, I'll give them a C minus. And what do you think about the wide receivers? What do you grade them?
I give them a B. With all things, it'd have been a lot higher. Like if Lamar actually had time, would have been comfortable. It could have been. He could have probably had 200 yards passing easy. Zay did his thing. Odell did his thing. So yeah, they did get a B.
Same grade for me. Consider all things considered. Like I said, unfortunately, wide receiver is one position where you need a lot of people to do their job in order for you to do your job. And if the offensive line can't do their job, then Lamar can't do his job, and they can't do their job.
Mhm.
But I did feel like that when the ball came their way, they made the most of it. Made the most of it, particularly like Zay
And
and
Bateman
Odell.
too. And Bateman, he had a couple catches, so I
Yeah,
forgot to leave him out.
they definitely made the most of of their situation. I actually think that because of how things were going on Sunday, it was kind of designed to get the ball in Zay's hand. Like some people were making a big deal about, not in a negative way, but just speaking like he had more receptions and more yards than everybody else, but he was targeted more, and that may have been by design. Get the ball in your playmakers' hands, and we've never had a weapon like that before. So there's nothing wrong with getting the ball in these guys' hands and letting them get some yak, and he did just that on Sunday. So yeah, they definitely get a B.
Especially when you got pass protection, you got to get it out quick, and him being in the slot is the quickest way to get it to him.
Yeah,
So it's like you can't just
I'm
hike the
with that.
ball and just heave the ball down the field. This is not
Exactly.
throw up tackle. It don't work like that.
We saw how that worked out last night. Didn't work out too great for Josh
Right,
Allen.
right. 3 picks. So it was like, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we can move to the defense. What do you give the defensive line?
Defensive line. I get. I'll actually give them an A, all things considered, because they had 5 sacks as a whole. Even though it came from position group,
Hmm.
they still get their credit. They stopped the run. Damian Pierce did not go off on them, and they was hitting C.J. Stroud. A few misses, but nonetheless pressure. Like
Hmm.
it was only probably once or twice I probably can count on my hand where he actually sat back there and looked comfortable. Like he was under the rest a lot the whole game. So yeah, I definitely give them an A. That's probably they probably the only group for really good A for the most part.
Same. Everything you said. I mean, we could talk about, who they were going against and what was happening on Houston's side, but at the end of the day, everybody got to line up and play, and you can only play who's in front of you. So I'm not looking at it like, well, because they were going up against backups, or this happened, or this person wasn't. No, they did what they were supposed to do, and being as though pass rush was something that we questioned majority all off season, I was pleasantly surprised with it on Sunday. No, they might didn't get the sacks, but they were getting there, and that
Yeah.
stuff that'll come. With more time, that'll come. So yeah, they definitely get an A. What do you give the linebackers?
I give them a B plus. They did pretty good. Like I said, Damian Pierce did not get off. Queen, he missed this. He he kind of left people open in his zone a little bit just by keep getting his eyes in the backfield. Like if he just would have just stayed and just dropped to like the play that Robert Woods caught across the middle. Oh, if he just would have stayed, played the scheme like he supposed to instead of trying to play hero ball, he could have had an interception. But he made it up with a couple of pass deflections. Roquan was all over the place, and then he got the big 4 for 1 stop. I didn't even see that play because I had went downstairs to get something to drink, and I came back up and I seen him at the bar. I saw the
Hmm.
replay of it. 'Cause I didn't go to this game unfortunately. But, yeah, I give them a B plus.
I actually give them an A, and the reason they get an A is because of the middle linebackers. Patrick Queen, like you said, that was a bad decision. But if you remember early on, I mean, he was wrecking havoc early on his own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for them, for their performance alone, they get an A. Also, want to give David Ajabo. That's how you say his last name. I want to give him a shout out because we've been talking about him and expectations that we've had for him, and he had a pretty okay game. Like he didn't, it wasn't anything. I wasn't upset with him in that game. Like I could say I was a little proud. Like when you think about it, that's what his third game. So I think it'll come. Like I said before with him, I want to see him perform next to starters and see what he can do because it's different when you're standing next to, a more elite talent because some of those guys are going to get more attention than you're going to get. But Yeah, I definitely because of the middle linebackers. They get an A because of them. I mean,
You put the
Roquan
or
undeniably.
you put the linebackers as a whole, middle and
Oh, I just
outside.
said yeah, I was just saying
Okay,
linebackers in
all right.
general. Yeah.
All right, now since you said that, yeah, definitely. Oway and the Jumbo, definitely they played amazing for the most part. Like I said, a couple missed sacks, but like I said, lack of preseason reps is going to happen. Now those are going to become finishes as the year go
Hmm.
on.
Yeah.
Malik Harrison, people got to give him credit. He played middle linebacker and outside linebacker and did a hell of a job. Was making plays, stopping the run, setting the edge coverage. Like Malik did a hell of a job, man. So I got to give him credit too. He and played special team, and he really was the Iron Man Sunday.
Hmm. Okay. So, how do you grade the safeties?
The safeties by themselves,
Yeah, if
or
you
you
want
want
to
the
do
point?
each position, because I was going to just say secondary, but if you want to do each one, we can.
You could do secondary altogether. Why not? They
Okay.
all back that
Yeah.
each way. Yeah,
Yeah.
the secondary played well for the most part. Like I said, Stroud had an okay game. Like he threw for like 500 yards. They were coming up making tackles in the run game. Uh, broke up a couple. But Brandon Stevens should have had a pick six if he just would have just trust his eyes. That he would have took that back to the crib. The play with Robert Woods caught the ball that he broke on it. It was a great break. Like I said, had he just trusted his eyes, he would have been going back the other way. But overall, they
Hmm.
played great. Kyle Hamilton was making hits. Marcus Williams was making tackles before he got hurt. Gino played pretty well, and Darius Washington. They were sniffing out sweeps and all that, coming up tackling. Ronald Darby looked good coming up tackling and covering. So yeah, I give them an A.
Same. I mean, considering we were already going in the game without Mullen, you lose Marcus Williams early in the game like that, and it was like we didn't miss a beat. Like I'm not saying that they were perfect. The fact that they weren't able to score a touchdown, we always talk about that. So they did their job that day. They gave up a couple of third downs that made the Texans feel a little bit more comfortable in the game than it should have been. But that's not a big deal. Like I said, if you can stop them from scoring, I can live with a big yard or a big play, here and there.
Mhm.
Um, but what I will say, I am concerned about because about this with my having Marcus Williams is the interceptions. I don't know who's going to do that now. But I guess we'll just have to see. Like we always talk about turnovers in general.
Yeah,
Interceptions are big. So I was hoping to have him back this year for that. Maybe he can come back this year, not quite sure. But that's my only concern for the secondary. But overall, they did really well considering what happened that game.
yeah, for sure. Like I said, Gino and Darius stepped in pretty well. Brian Stevens, he held his own. So yeah, like, they
I was a
did.
little nervous early on when I thought Kyle Hamilton got hurt. I was like, oh my goodness, but he came right back out.
Yeah, shook, yeah, little Nick. That's all. Good old football. It's gonna be like that.
Hmm. All right, so now we have a couple of topics just to talk about some things that happened since Sunday. Now, this has
Mhm.
been a talk because, like the Eagles coach mentioned it, John Harbaugh talked about it in a post game press conference. So I'm going to ask you, do you think that starters playing in the preseason would have cut back on the rust that we saw offensively?
Oh, absolutely. Because that's when you get. Because then there you can make all your mistakes. It is don't count. That's when you get all the mistakes set, all the kinks out, all the everything, and you get your timing and all that. Because it's different in practice going against your opposing defense who's just want to play the same stuff over and over because they don't they're not going to try to overdo anything so nobody won't get hurt in practice versus going against a live opponent who's going to bring it. So it definitely would have because like I said they could have got all the kinks out and then by now week one it would have been a lot better. Now they now Lamar knows all right. Or Beckham like the ball this way, or they like the ball this way, or blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Or if they come out here and show all our blitz, like we want to do this, we're going to do this slide McCall here. We're going to move Andrews out wide if they coming out here with small corners, on the red zone. So just little nuances like that. But definitely, it definitely would have cut back. Like you can't prevent injury. It's just what it is. Like you can minimize it, but you can't stop it.
Hmm. I don't think that it would have changed much. And the reason why I don't think it would have changed much is because when you look around, like the Ravens aren't the only team who don't play their starters or who do. Like some teams do and some teams don't, right? But even when it was 4 games being played, preseason games, if the starters did play, they played a series, maybe a 2 series, maybe a quarter, maybe when it was a third preseason game, they might have played up to a half. But really, how much were you showing? We talked about it as fans
That's a
all the
good
time.
point. That's a good point.
Everything was everything is vanilla in a preseason. It's not like
Yeah.
Lamar and them are going to see something that's going to help them get prepared for a regular season game. Um, Another thing, we often talk about players and the voluntary workouts and all OTAs and all of that, and we talk about whether they should or shouldn't be there. If the preseason is important, shouldn't every situation that you can be with your team and game chemistry be important? I don't think that we should only look at the preseason because it's a lot of things you can do in the off season to build that chemistry. It's a lot of things that can be done that guys miss out on because they have the choice of whether they do or don't want to come. Um, and then you look at the players like this. This is my issue with the NFL players. They spent so much time, focusing on wanting to be able to smoke weed and having less practice time. But then we sit up here and want to talk about whether or not they should be playing in the preseason. Well, what happened in 2 days? Do you not think that having more 2 days would be more beneficial to these guys?
Now the
We're talking
NFLPA
about
said, they
no,
said
no, no,
hell.
no,
No,
no.
no, I'm saying I
No,
get what
and
you
so
said. They
so it
said
ain't it's not
they
just
said hell
I'm
no.
not even I'm not putting it off on the PA because the players gotta agree to it. So I'm not
That's
gonna
what
sit up
that's
and
what I'm
act
saying.
like
They
right.
all
So
both of them
I'm saying
both
so
they
I'm
said
saying right. So what I'm saying is I'm 100% sure the players did not they wanted to practice less,
absolutely,
which they do, and they
absolutely.
wanted to be able to smoke weed. And now we want to sit up here now that a preseason game is taken away and teams aren't playing guys in the preseason. Now we want to make like it's some sort of importance to the preseason when to me it's not. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because, like for instance, the Giants played starters in the preseason. How did that work out for them on Sunday?
They got yeah, they,
I'm asking. How did that help them? Pat Mahomes was playing.
obviously.
Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs. They were playing starters in the preseason. Didn't seem like it helped them out much when they were dropping balls. So I'm saying all that to say, playing or not, like with the Eagles, when the Eagles were smashing the Patriots, do you think they were thinking about the preseason? No. But because you allowed them to come back, now it's a conversation of should they have played more? No, they shouldn't. The players are going to play based on what the coaches want. So I just think it's kind of janky to really blame it on the preseason. Like the preseason is going to make that much of a difference when we can clearly see there are teams that played in the preseason and still stunk it up on Sunday. So if somebody is going to make the point of if they would have played more in the preseason, they would have chemistry, then explain to me why the teams that did play in the preseason stunk it up on Sunday.
That's a good point. I guess it all goes on the organization, honestly, how they group everything. Every NFL organization runs a different type of shit.
Of course,
So
right.
it all, like it's all a matter of opinion. Like I said, like you said, teams that did play up there, like you said, that couldn't score points. Teams who played less did good, like San Francisco. They didn't play a whole bunch of these guys like that. They dominated Pittsburgh. So like I
Yeah.
said,
And
it can go two, it can go either way.
And like it ain't even about injury to me because you can get injured in practice. You know what I mean? You can.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. Like that don't. I ain't worrying about. I'm not. I'm not. If John Harbaugh wanted to play them, I wouldn't say don't. It's just that why would you put Lamar out there if the offensive line already be looking shaky? I'm not putting you in a preseason against a shaky offensive line against for something that doesn't matter. Like it does. I don't know. I'm just looking at the players like y'all wanted to work less, so you got what you wanted. And now we sitting here week 1 saying should they play in the preseason? But when they don't show up in the off season, it's well they don't have to, and it's okay. All of that's chemistry. All of that builds chemistry.
It does. Absolutely. Only thing I'm gonna say about that, as far as that, you know this obviously, the live in OTAs, like I said, you're going to get your teammates. Yes, it can still be gritty, but versus a different jersey, it
Mm-hmm.
bring they don't have no love for you, so they're gonna come a little harder, so to say.
Oh yeah, and that's what happens when they have those drink practices. We see what happens when they do that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so I don't know if you caught the quote from the Texans player after the game. I'm not quite sure who. I forgot his name. I just
Nah,
read it out. I forgot who
I ain't
said
even
it.
see that. I ain't see that.
But he basically was saying that um, Lamar wanted to sit in the pocket, and that's what they wanted him to do. So my question to you is: does Lamar sitting in the pocket play into opposing defense's hands?
All right, let me clarify his statement first because I know what he's trying to say. Basically, what he's saying is then I'll give my take. By him being as athletic as he is, they would rather him sit there and just straight swing versus him move on a run and got to chase his fast as. That me as the former defensive lineman, I understand what he's saying. He's not saying he can't. Lamar can't pass the football, but we all know that's bullshit. That narrative is out the window now. Can we all agree on that? We all know that. The board threw for say what you want. The man threw for 5 touchdowns. The only person that threw more 5 touchdown game was Peyton Man. So yeah, and that was with lesser talent. So he basically saying it's a relief to see him drop back more versus trying to chase him on the run and all that. That tires you the hell out.
Hmm.
That tires you out because you used to the quarterbacks with the 2 left feet, like a Peyton Man that can't outrun nobody's grandmother versus a quarterback like a Vic. Oh, what I
Why?
mean?
Don't be
I'm
taking
just
no shot at Peyton Manning.
I love the sheriff. That's my guy. I'm just saying like guys like them statues. Whereas now you got Vic, Lamar's of the world that can move around and still throw the
Hmm.
ball. You chase them, it frustrates you. So that's what he mean by that. And for my take, no, because like I said, we've seen him numerous time at the time, like people up for 5 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. Feel me?
Hmm.
Repeatedly. Like we cannot get mad that God gave him the ability he gave physically. We can't punish him for that.
Hmm.
If he wants to use his God given talent to get out of trouble, if he didn't move around like he did Sunday, he'd probably be on the injury report itself. So it's like people want to give his athleticism credit when it's beneficial, then want to hold it against him. Like it's like you can't get mad. It ain't like he just 1 second take off and run. Feel me? He's actually
Hmm.
going through his read. Boom, boom, boom. All right, shit. I got pressure coming down. Let me get out of here. Yeah. So that's what that is. But no, he keeps killed teams from the pocket over and over again. I would just say they were probably more. It's probably easier because they know where he's at if he's just standing still. I'm gonna just say that.
Um, I think that opposing teams would prefer him to stay in the pocket because they don't fear him throwing the ball. Like when you speak about his athleticism, they worry about him outside the pocket. They worry about him when he's running. They don't know what he's going to do, and he's fast. And most likely, you're not going to tackle him. So
Right.
if I can keep you in the pocket and you pass the ball, then I got a better chance of, getting to you. I got a better
Absolutely.
chance of hindering you from getting the ball to your weapons. Now I say all of that not to say that he can't pass. I don't think that he can't. We clearly can see that he can.
Yeah,
I
but
just don't think that I don't think that they fear him. Like there are
he's not
certain
he's
guys
not
who are,
traditional like Peyton Manning and Brady.
yeah,
That's what
like,
that's what it is.
and then even when you look around the league, I mean, there's other guys who are in the league now, like it's some guys that they can pick you apart. I don't think it's not as again to be clear. It's not to say Lamar can't pick a team apart. I just don't think that they fear him in that sense of saying, "Oh my goodness, we got Lamar back there. He's going to pick us apart." They're worrying about where Lamar is at. What's Lamar going to do? Is he going to run? Is he going? Like it's a lot to still consider with Lamar. But I definitely don't think that they fear him. So ultimately, yeah, I do think him playing in the pocket plays into their hand because that's where they would prefer he be. They would prefer he be right there because
Like
they
I
can get
said,
to him easily and
yeah,
and they don't fear his ability to get the ball where it needs to be.
I'm sure the Dolphins didn't fear him in the pocket either. Look how that turned out for him. The Rams, like it's just whoever, like it'd be like you could not fear him all you want, but then you look up, it's 3, 4 touchdown passes. Then hey, you got what you wanted.
Yeah, well, as a Ravens fan, I'm all for it, but I definitely don't think if you talk to people around the league, they probably not thinking about that with Lamar.
No,
Again, it's not to
I'm
say he
pretty
can't
sure. I'm pretty
pass,
sure that
but
I'm pretty sure. When they come to that, it's Mahomes and all them like them would be first. I can't. I'm not gonna argue over that. But like, you know what I mean? Like the kid is not goddamn child bowler. Like, that's like, yeah, people got like,
yeah.
relax. All right.
All right, and so the last topic is again, prayers out to JK Dobbins. I really, really, really feel bad that happened to him on Sunday. It's
Yeah.
just it's unfortunate, and as a Ravens fan, we still haven't been able to see him, Lamar, Mark Andrews, Ronnie Stanley, and who's the fifth person?
Bateman.
uh Bateman. We haven't been able to see all five of them on like play consistently. Like
Go a
it's
whole
unfortunate.
season.
Yeah, like well, yeah, man, it's unfortunate. But do you think that the run game is going to take a step back without JK Dobbins?
I'm gonna say no because now we're accustomed to without playing without him. So it's like we it's the norm now. It's sad to say. So like I said, Gus is going to do him. Justice Hill earned the trust, so now he's going to get more touches. Um, Keaton Mitchell, whenever he comes back, going to get involved. Melvin Gordon, they're going to give him a shot. Let him roll first, and then if he still want to put the ball on the ground, he's gone, and they'll probably check out Leonard Fournette or something like that. Kareem Hunt, the only reason I say no, we all know his history, so they've been trying to stay away from those type of players. So yeah, but like they gonna grow with the four they got now. But like I said, if Melvin Gordon don't cut the mustard, they're gonna probably go get Leonard Fournette for cheap or something like that. And go Leonard Fournette, probably Keaton Mitchell, Justice Hill, and that spot. I think the run game will still be good because like you still got the ultimate weapon back there that helps you in the run game as well, and a 300-pound fullback that can block his ass off. So they will be
Hmm.
fine in that department.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, we talked about running backs, and we felt like they probably were going to keep four, and they kept the four that we all wanted them to keep. But it's a reason why they kept Melvin Gordon and put him on a practice squad. So, from my understanding, he's being activated now, so we'll have him. Whenever Keaton can come back, we'll have him. I do believe in Gus and Justice Hill. I believe they can, hold down the fort as well. And like you said, if all else fails, there are free agents available that we could go to and try to bring in. And I know some fans are
Get playoff Lenny.
And I know some fans are talking about, trading for JT. I don't really see that
Ooh,
happening. But we don't know.
ooh,
So I think that over the next couple of weeks we can definitely get by with them. And the biggest reason you just mentioned it, we played without JK. We've had to play without him, unfortunately. So it's unfortunate because we all had high hopes for him and wanted him to have a great year and wanted him to get the bag next year. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't know if he's even going to want to still play football. Like I said, mentally, I'm sure he's going through it. But as far as the Ravens, I think the Ravens are going to be fine in the run department, and definitely having Lamar back there helps out tremendously.
yeah. But far as JK, he better call Dr. Andrews. Do you know everybody he done worked on like AP tore ACL, come back MVP.
Yeah.
So yeah, he better call Dr. Andrews. Dr. Andrews will get him right. Yeah, get him right. But far as the Jonathan Taylor, we would love it. Of course, he's a great player. But the
Hmm.
Colts, for one, they're not going to try to trade him in the AFC if they do trade. They don't want that to come back to haunt them. Feel me?
Hmm.
So he's definitely going to get shipped NFC for one. Then the Colts are going to ask for King's ransom. They're not trading him away for pennies. Feel me? They're not trading him for
Hmm.
pennies. Like so, and the Costa will have to kick up some picks, at least a second and third, and maybe even a player or two. So yeah, it's going to
Hmm.
definitely cost. And we know the Ravens love their picks. Like the Roquan thing, that was a little unprecedented. But yeah, it all depends. It all depends. It all depends if they say what's the GM Chris Ballard say, hey Picasso, give me a third and a fourth and I don't know one of your backup receivers. You might say, all right, cool. And then but I ain't gonna lie, Jonathan Taylor with Lamar Jackson, man, oh my god, that'd be so scary. Lord
You
have
know what's so funny about the Colts and JT is like y'all want to minimize the running back position and act like they're not important or devalue them, but then you might want to arm and a leg to get to give them up to somebody. Like you can't have it both ways.
absolutely.
If you value him that much, then pay that man.
I
And if
bet you
not,
Anthony.
then if not, then y'all talk.
My best. I bet you Anthony Richardson want him there.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he played really
Yeah.
well too. He played
Oh yeah,
well.
he did his thing. I should have started him too. I started that. That probably cost me a win. But great show co-host as usual. Thursday, I'm gonna do my preview, and I'll be due. Got the Bengals. We going into Cincinnati, like coming off a loss. So like I said, they gonna be. This is one of the worst times to play a team after they didn't got their ass whooped. And like I said, we
Yeah.
got injuries in the secondary, like Jamar Chase. Like, okay, no Marlon Humphrey to frustrate me. I might go for 200. I'm just saying that's probably
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Burrow played like crap, or for all, and the media gave him some smoke, which I respect. They didn't like try to make excuses for him. They said, "Nah, man, you just signed that big deal. You played like crap, man." Like, so
Mm-hmm.
he gonna want to come out, and turn into Joe Shiesty. So we
Mm-hmm.
gotta come with it, man. We gotta come with it because, like I said, Cincinnati's gonna try to embarrass us. Like, it's just no,
Oh yeah.
it, like I know it. They're gonna try to make a statement that week one was a fluke. So we hopefully we clean up as many mistakes as we can. It's hard to clean up a lot of things in 1 week, in one short week at that. Because it's really not even
Mm-hmm.
a whole 7 days, it's 6 days basically. So yeah, thank y'all guys. Have an amazing Tuesday. Make sure y'all subscribe, like, talk Ravens all day, every day. Man, anything Shannon you want to say before we wrap it up?
No, I'm just glad football is back. That was like I said, the game started off like but overall it ended how it was supposed to. And like I said, they made the adjustments in the second half, and that's something we haven't seen them do before. So that was good.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So yeah, like I said, Thursday we're gonna have a good show. Dave will be back. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys, man. Thank you for Reg. Thank you, Reg. You tuning Reg. You gotta start tuning in a little early, but you always tune in when we ready to wrap it up. God from Norwalk, thank you. Brandon Bazel, I ain't forget about your saw you comment, bro. Thank you. You always come and show some love. Hindu too as well. All you guys, thank you. Appreciate all the support. Like I said, make sure y'all trade talk Ravens all day, every day. For your host, Justin P, and my MVP co-host, Miss Shannon Fitch. I'll see you guys Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. We all out.
Good night. Bye, Justin.
Shannon.